Let me be clear. There's no friend of Nigeria that has been stronger in its condemnation of the violence of Boko Haram and Boko Haram's contempt for human life than the United States.
Mr. Ambassador, you are lying. You are not a friend of Nigeria. You never helped Nigeria to fight any Boko Haram. That is the American ambassador to Nigeria. You remember recently an American senator or is it a congressman came out to say the U.S. government were using the USAID, which President Trump just closed down recently. They were using it to sponsor and fund terrorist group all over the world, including Boko Haram in Nigeria. That is what the American ambassador is now coming out to deny and claiming that America has been a friend in fighting Boko Haram. Let's go and listen to him come back and talk about it. But before we do that, this is One Africa Mission, the #1 Africa mission. We are missionaries, we are Africans, and our mission is to counter, it's a counter missionary group to that of the King Leopold missionaries that were sent to Africa to come and brainwash our people, which we are still suffering from what his missionary, King Leopold and his European missionaries did to our people. So this is a counter missionary to that. And our mission is to go around the continent of Africa to preach the gospel of unity to our people. So please support our mission. How do you support us? Is by sharing what we are doing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that. A lot of people haven't really done that. Please, and also don't just watch, try to like it and then pass your comments. It's really helping us a lot. We are learning a lot from that. Follow us on TikTok. Those of you on TikTok supporting us, we really appreciate it. But I will urge you, if you are a follower on TikTok, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't take anything away to do that. But as I said, we really appreciate your support. Together, me and you can handle a better Africa to the next generation of Africans, so that Africans will not be bullied as we are being bullied today by the Americans. Let's go and listen to the American ambassador to Nigeria come back and talk about it.
Let me be clear. There's no friend of Nigeria that has been stronger in its condemnation of the violence of Boko Haram and Boko Haram's contempt for human life than the United States. We have labeled Boko Haram since 2013 a foreign terrorist organization, a designation that was designed to block Boko Haram from carrying out any asset transfers to the United States, allows us to arrest and seize members of Boko Haram, and allows us to cooperate in investigations with the Nigerian government. We, I can assure you, have policies and procedures in place to ensure that USAID funding, any of our assistance funding, whether it comes from USAID, the Department of Defense, the State Department, is not diverted to a terrorist group like Boko Haram. There's absolutely no evidence that I have seen that has occurred. And certainly if we ever had evidence presented to us that a program funding was being diverted to Boko Haram, we would immediately investigate, along with our Nigerian partners. And so I just want to be clear that when it comes to Boko Haram, the United States stands with Nigeria in wanting to rid this country of the scourge that organization represents.
Yes, so according to the American ambassador, the allegation that the American government is supporting Boko Haram is unfounded. But can we really blame these people? Because this is how they control the world, deception. Because your own senator came out or congressman came out and exposed you as to what you people have been doing, and this is not something new. This is an open secret, because those in the Sahel were saying it. That is the reason why they kick you out. And that is why we are saying, you see, all these military bases in Africa, they are there to make sure that terrorist groups continue to get weapons. Let's go and listen to our elder from Nigeria, who was part of the Boko Haram committee, what he had to say about the Boko Haram, the information they were getting from villagers. Let's go listen to him, come back and talk about it.
I served on the Boko Haram committee. Now, 2 + 2 at times has to be equal to 4. So even if I can't give you 4, but I can give you 2 + 2, we would then have to come to the conclusion that I'm giving you 4. I served on that committee, and villagers kept telling us that in the middle of the night, helicopters piloted by white people kept landing and offloading guns, goods, and all kinds of and money to these people. Now, villagers they don't even know who these white people are. And they have no reason to lie to us. Now, we made a mistake. When I said some of us on the Boko Haram committee made a mistake. We thought it was the French that were doing this. Now we have an American congressman said, no, it was the Americans who were doing this. And when you then add that to the Obama administration refusing to sell weapons to us, to Nigeria, on the grounds that we had human rights violations in the way we were dealing with Boko Haram, not in the way we were dealing with ordinary Nigerians where there were no security issues.
Yes. So who do we believe here? Who do we believe? Because the American ambassador is trying to deny the fact that they have been sponsoring Boko Haram. But the reality is that that is what you guys have been doing. You are using the USAID to do that. And that is exactly what our elder here is saying. When he was part of the Boko Haram committee, the villagers will tell them that at midnight, they would see helicopters coming to landing in their villages, giving out weapons to the terrorist groups and giving them money. The villagers wouldn't lie for nothing. They wouldn't lie for what? Because they are catching the hell. And this is what we are saying. Those helicopters, where were they coming from? They were not coming from America. They were coming from military bases within the African continent. And our leaders in the Sahel, that is the reason why they kicked these military bases out. And that is why we are calling for all the African continent to make sure that we get rid of these military bases. Because these military bases, they are not there to help us fight any terrorists. They are there to make sure that the terrorist groups will continue to destabilize our continent. They have a military base in Ghana. From Ghana to Nigeria, how many minutes is going to take them to fly from Ghana to Nigeria to give weapons to the terrorist groups? They had military base in Niger. Niger and Nigeria is border. So those military bases, their duty was to give weapons to these terrorist groups. So the American ambassador cannot come today and try to play with our intelligence as African people. We always know that you people are behind these terrorist groups in Africa. It is just recently that President Trump is now trying to expose you guys. So you cannot come and play games with us. This is a new Africa. And then, whether you say it or not, as I said, we already have that information. All that we are calling on our leaders is to make sure that we don't have military bases in Africa, in our continent. What is the use of those military bases? What have they been like? What have they helped us achieve in terms of security? Absolutely nothing. The duty of those military bases is just as the villagers were telling the Boko Haram committee in Nigeria. Those military bases were there to make sure that they will give superior weapons to those terrorist groups. And that is where they are getting their weapons from. I was asking that question. Where is the Boko Haram terrorist group getting their weapons from? Because they are not in control of any mines. They are not in control of any resources. So where are they getting their weapons from? Not knowing that it was you people giving them weapons to make sure that they destabilize Nigeria, because a stabilized Nigeria means a prosperous Nigeria, and a prosperous Nigeria means a prosperous West Africa. And then you don't want to see that. You always want to see us in disarray. So for the United States ambassador to Nigeria, you can tell that to the dogs. We are awakening, and then we know your tactics. You cannot come out and tell us that you have been the #1 sponsor or helper of Nigeria to fight terrorists. Tell that to the dogs or to your Marines. We have brains today, and then we will not take your